Hi everyone, I'm Berra. I'm a fourth year student in Diploma 19 and my project is called House of Humours. Humours in this context refer to temperaments, the four essential elements that make up the human body, with each individual holding unique genes and characteristics. Imagining the human body in various contexts, we create a variety of experiences and use different senses in performing those spaces. The relationship between the space, our body, and our mind changes depending on each of those environments. By analyzing spaces where we are supposed to receive care and those where we actually feel cared for, the project recognizes that our experience with care depends on the environment we inhabit, and it focuses on synthesizing collective living and care, or domestic comfort with communal therapy. Despite the modern care spaces' mechanical and structured nature, through constructing commons with different qualitative conditions that are based on humours, and following the state's latest demands for flexible spaces that are capable of accommodating diverse needs and adapting to evolving community requirements, the project reimagines an existing housing development in Barking. It proposes the emergence of a housing type that's synchronizing care spaces and housing, and focus on integrating care into everyday living to respond to the current health crisis. The research focused on understanding and learning from the past models that included living and healing and usage of domestic and communal in a therapeutic approach. Bimarstans, or medieval Islamic hospitals, are examined as an example type that followed this concept. Unlike the typical image that comes to mind when we hear the word hospital, these establishments were not only centers for physical recovery, but also integral social institutions, profoundly impacting the communities they served. The complexes were designed to serve locals for a long period of time until they get better. This led the buildings to include not just medical facilities, but also domestic facilities that were used communally, including accommodation, kitchen, and other common spaces to socialize, clean, and worship, which is encouraging a collective living and embodies a holistic approach to healing. Its courtyard typology led for an instant exchange between indoor and outdoor spaces from warm to cold, recognizing the impact of environmental conditions on human health. For example, outside spaces led patients to experience aromatic therapy through the scents of plants. Water features incorporated sound therapy, attracting birds whose songs created a soothing atmosphere. Patient rooms featured bedding made of linen, adorned with aromatic plants, while divine music enhanced emotional well-being and restored the body. In essence, the hospitals weren't only about getting treatment from a practitioner, but also about space, quality, senses, temperature, isolation, and different forms of relationships building with others who are going through different illnesses. When we look at the hospitals today, now we see an image that most of us expect. Looking at the hospitals today, a common thread emerges irrespective of location. While the main task of a hospital is to care for people, the environment it generates don't seem to care about people. Its mechanic mode radiates patients to return to production to fulfill their responsibilities and tasks, emphasizing efficiency over the quality of experience or self-care, which is not responsive to the modern problems in the UK that leads to the crisis in NHS. With the failure of the modern health system, communities are in need of an alternative care, their own identity of well-being, depending on their own reality, which is usually based on culture, religion, social, economic, or political settings, which is usually unrecognized by the state. The spaces are being repurposed to provide the care that is much needed. Non-scientific people start to give advice and lifestyle suggestions. The shared objective among them is to extend their services to the entire community, establishing an affordable and welcoming environment where they feel cared for at home and have someone to consult for advice when needed. During the final years, due to the effects of the crisis, the state has started to acknowledge the issue and attempt to provide social or alternative healing methods to the current. One important example is the NHS's social prescribing program, which enables health professionals to refer people to a range of local and non-clinical services. Recognizing that health is influenced by holistic factors, this initiative promotes activities like art, music workshops, volunteering, and gardening to enhance preventive mental and physical health, fostering a sense of purpose, community care, and social interaction. We see these events taking place in community centers, hubs, libraries, and other small-scale alternative care spaces. While they hold a significant importance to address the ongoing health crisis, we come across with a similar image to a hospital setting. However, looking back at the community care spaces in the UK, we see a successful type that was focusing on improving social interactions and social therapy called the Peckham experiment, that is now lost. The founder doctors considered the traditional models to be insufficient to address the health challenges and developed an alternative approach that they called the living structure. The project was a collective living model that took place in a center that was designed as an extension to home, a comfortable and familiar space for locals to spend time. It provided space for locals to socialize, exercise, eat, and heal. Aiming to start introducing the much needed emotional healing techniques to modern context, the project focuses on creating or bringing back a living model that uses self-care, socialization, and communization-based healing, and the design focuses on how to readjust housing to include communing and domestic communing as a form of therapy. The design model is tested in an existing housing development in Barking, specifically chosen due to it being currently under development as well as its courtyard typology and residents having high health deprivation compared to the other boroughs. New housing provisions in London councils typically follow NHS's Healthy New Town guidelines. The solutions are mostly based on introducing community shared spaces where possible, including community hubs and improved greenery and public realm usage. My project will include my own responses to the NHS brief, including rethinking the integration of community hubs to housing. The existing brief for the housing blocks include 245 houses to be removed and renewed to have new houses with improved greenery. Analyzing the existing layout, the large courtyards are currently left vacant, with some areas used as car parking and laundry drying areas. Contrary to the majority of gentrification developments in the area, instead of a full demolition, the design focused on partially renovating the existing apartment blocks and integrating additional structures to accommodate the amended programs. The additional communal therapy units will be constructed as extensions that's placed within the courtyard spaces on the structural frame of the existing ground floor, making the floor convert from residential to communal. The design introduces variances that move from dark to light, indoor and outdoor, and warm to cold spaces. These qualities allow for an experiential usage, which allows different intensity of therapeutic and social activities to take place and perform. Looking at one individual building, its proposed layout is devised from arches with smaller openings transitioning to larger ones, guiding activities from domestic and private to communal, and the exchange and relationship between interior and exterior. Each unit shares a type of domestic function, with areas cut out to create extra space. The extension that follows each unit accommodates the activity happening within the unit. For instance, in areas with communal baths, flexible furniture can facilitate changing, provide hygiene facilities, or over tables for post-bathing relaxation. Communal kitchens can serve dining outside, provide seating and relaxing spacing for conversation. Wide slots in kitchen cabinets serve during workshops. Flexible shared facilities further support diverse local needs in a more institutional scale, with larger spaces serving as social hubs or event venues, which can be repurposed as art or exercise studios or prayer areas as needed. The design aims for its structure to serve as a type of flexible furniture, performative and interactive, that users can utilize according to the social prescription. The tile qualities further support the idea of interactiveness and creates a vibrant design. The surrounding courtyard is designed to extend the same strategy, facilitating not only physical activities, but also various forms of therapy, including gardening, aromatherapy, social interaction, and sound therapy, which is aimed to be achieved through incorporating elements such as types of different plantation, water features, and designated socializing areas. The use of arch structural geometry acts as an abstraction of dome-shaped structures, suggesting a connection to sky. ETFE roofing with different lighting options adds to the atmosphere, providing brightness and spaciousness or intimacy as required. While securing the skyline, the roof design also allows residents to be interactive and gives a chance to involve in activities from their living space. In other words, the choice of transparency is not only serving the to bring the light, but also to increase connectivity between the residents and the design. In essence, these different considerations hope to improve sensorial design and the relationship between human body and scale that is forming its own hearing ritual through the circulation and sequence of spaces that one visits. Compared to the existing community center models, through following this, a more experiential arrangement or framework, it is expected to increase usage and led the residents and locals to start engaging and use the spaces more practically according to the ever-changing ideology of social infrastructure. To conclude, advocating for a shift from hierarchical, isolated, and mechanical approaches to care, I propose introducing a housing model that prioritizes community care, emphasizing reciprocity and participation to address modern health issues and the NHS crisis more effectively. The project is turning the existing unutilized common spaces into therapy and collective care and living spaces that act as a part of everyday living. Through borrowing certain qualitative aspects from ancient knowledge, it reminds us the nature of human body and its needs of natural conditions. Through interacting housing, it acts as a type that is comfortable, where people feel cared for and take ownership of their own health.